evening, kids! We are so excited that you're joining us today. We've got so much in store for you, and we can't wait for you to see it. Now, it looks a little bit different in the room because everyone is here all together, and you're with the big kids. And it might be a little tricky to stand up and dance to our songs of worship. So, today, we're going to watch our video of worship online, and then when you get home, you get to show your mom and dad how awesome you are and how much you know the dance moves. So, watch these next worship videos and get ready to show your parents when you get home. All right? All right, let's do it!
Turn it out. sunshine. He's the one who puts the moon in the sky. He's the one who hung the stars one by one. He's the one who makes the birds sing. He's the one who makes your dreams so high. He's the one who makes me smile. Day by day, Jesus, you're my superhero. You're my star, my best friend. Jesus, you're my superhero. You're my star, my best friend. Yeah, 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 yeah. Better than Spider-Man. Yeah, 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 yeah. Better than Superman. Yeah, 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 yeah. Better than Batman. Yeah, 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 yeah. Better than anyone. Jesus, you're my superhero. You're my star, my best friend. Jesus, you're my superhero. You're my star, my best friend. Jesus, you're my superhero. You're my star, my best friend. Jesus, you're my superhero. You're my star, my best friend. Yeah, 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 yeah. Better than Yu-Gi-Oh! Yeah, 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 yeah. Better than Bobby. Yeah, 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 yeah. Better than Action Man. Better than anyone. Jesus, you're my superhero. You're my star, my best friend. Jesus, you're my superhero. You're my star, my best friend.
When God created the world, he made the sun, the moon, and the stars. He separated the water from the land. He built the mountains and the forests. He made different kinds of plants and flowers. He created them in different sizes, shapes, and colors. He also made all the animals, big and small. He created the fish that would swim in the sea and birds that could fly in the sky. He created small insects that could fly and crawl. He was very pleased with whatever he had created. Then, after he created everything, he felt he needed somebody who would look after his creation. He then created the first man from the mud. He breathed life into him and named him Adam. Where am I? Who are you?
You are in my garden, the Garden of Eden. I am your creator, your Lord. You can live in my garden all your life. You will enjoy all the beautiful things I created for you and take care of them.
That's nice, but how did I get here?
You are here because I chose to have you here. You have been created in my likeness. You have powers over everything I have created on earth. You are the master of everything, and you will take care of them like your own. This is my wish and my design.
I'm so hungry. Can I have something to eat?
My garden is filled with trees and plants with the most delicious fruits of all kinds. You are free to eat the fruits of any tree here, except for the tree that stands in the middle of the garden. That tree is called the Tree of Knowledge. If you eat that fruit, you will die.
God had created everything from the trees, the plants, the animals, and the birds, but he had not named them. So he asked Adam to name them. Adam named them one by one. Adam felt alone. Nothing that God had created could be partner. So God made Eve. One day, when Adam was sleeping, he created Eve out of his rib. Eve proved to be the right companion for Adam. Of all the creatures that God created on earth, the snake was the most evil and clever of them all. One day, when Adam was tending the garden, the snake went over to Eve and started talking to her.
Hello, Eve.
Hello. Who are you? I have never seen any animals speak here.
Oh, I have been in this garden before you and Adam came along. None of the animals talk because they believe Adam to be the master of them all, and so they are afraid to ask. God only speaks to you. He loves you more than any of us.
Oh, I see. And you're not afraid?
No, I am not. I think you are good and kind. I'm amazed by your knowledge and your strength. I can see why God made you in His image.
Okay, that's nice. So what was it that you wanted to ask me?
I was just wondering. You eat every fruit from this garden except the one from the tree in the middle of the garden. Why is that?
Adam told me that God has told us to not eat the fruit of that tree. He said if we eat that fruit, we will die.
I don't think that is true. I think God knows that if you eat the fruit from that tree, you will become wiser and stronger, more like God.
I don't know about that, but the fruit sure looks so tasty and it smells good too.
Yes, yes. It looks amazing, and I'm sure it tastes better than anything you have had before.
But I wonder if...
I don't think anything will go wrong if you eat it. Go ahead, try it.
It sure is a wonderful day. I found a new kind of fruit in the garden today. I think I'll call it a melon.
That's great. I like the way you name these fruits. Adam, I wonder why God asked us not to eat this fruit. They look so nice and plump, and they smell so good too.
I don't know, Eve, but God said we would die if we eat it. We should listen to what He says.
I think that's not true. If this fruit was so poisonous and bad, why would He put it in the middle of the garden, right where we can pluck it? I'm sure it's some kind of a trick.
Why do you worry so much? We have so many other fruits that we can eat. When God gave us this warning, there should be some reason behind it. We should just stay away from it.
Yes, but I don't think it would hurt to take a little nibble, would it? I would love to know how it tastes. I don't think God is going to notice.
Saying so, Eve stood up and plucked the bright red, shiny fruit from the tree of knowledge. She looked at it, admiring its beauty. She then looked at Adam and took a bite from the fruit. She then gave the fruit to Adam and asked him to take a bite as well. Adam took a bite from it. He smiled at Eve. Together, they finished the fruit. Adam and Eve were sleeping under the tree in the center of the garden when they heard God's voice. When they woke up, they were afraid. They felt guilty and full of shame. They tried to hide themselves behind the bushes.
Adam, where are you? Eve, why are you trying to hide from me?
Sorry, my father. We are naked, and we wish to cover ourselves.
But how did you know that you were naked? You were naked before, and you were never ashamed. Why do you have such a feeling now?
I don't know, Father.
Did you eat the fruit of the tree of knowledge in the center of the garden? The one I told you not to eat from?
Forgive me, my father. Eve gave it to me, and I ate it. I'm sorry I disobeyed you, my God.
Eve, why did you do this?
God, the snake tricked me into eating it. I was confused. I did not know what I was doing. I'm sorry, my God.
I gave you everything that you would possibly need. Anything that your heart would desire is available in this garden. I gave you only one rule to follow. But you disobeyed me. You have both failed me.
Forgive us, my Lord. We will not make any more mistakes. Forgive us this one last time. We were unaware of the consequences. We thought it was just another tree. It was not my fault. It was the snake that confused us.
The snake will get his share of punishment. That does not mean you are free from the consequences of disobeying me. Why did you find it so difficult to follow just one rule? You had everything else in this garden for yourself. No, once you have eaten the fruit of the tree of knowledge, you can no longer stay in the Garden of Eden. You now know what is wrong and what is right. You must leave the garden at once and live the rest of your life on earth.
Hey, good afternoon, Living Kids. It's so good to see all of you guys online. We're really happy to be a part of your Sunday here at Living Church. So we're going to be reading a story that I'm really excited about today. It's one of the first big stories in the Bible, and I'm honored and excited to be able to read it with you guys today. It's about Adam and Eve. It picks up in Genesis 2, right after God created all of the other things on earth. You know, it says in the end of Genesis 1 that on the sixth day God made the animals, and then from dust God made the most wonderful creature of all, and that is a person. He made Adam. So on the seventh day after that he rested. God needed to take a break because he was making all of these things. And so Genesis 2, it picks up with the story of Adam and Eve. So it says, God had planted a beautiful garden for Adam in a place called Eden. A river flowed through the garden. I can only imagine probably the most beautiful park or a garden that you've ever seen. That must be what this was like. And then it says, Adam loved his new home. He enjoyed walking through the garden, and he had a job there as well. His job was to name all of the animals. That's a big job, I'm sure. And he had to care for the garden as well. Adam loved all of the animals, but he could not find a friend that was just right for him. So God saw this and he created a woman. Adam named her Eve. She was just right for Adam. Adam and Eve loved each other. Together, they took care of God's garden. Many trees grew in this garden, which they call Eden. God told Adam and Eve, you may eat the fruit from any tree except for one. This one tree, you're not supposed to eat anything from it. Never eat the fruit from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Now, there was a sneaky snake in the garden. One day, the snake saw Eve near the special tree. It hissed. Did God really tell you not to eat the fruit from this tree? The snake wanted Eve to disobey God. It said, you should try some of this tasty fruit. It's the biggest and the best fruit in the garden. And so the snake was really trying to trick Eve. If you eat it, you will be like God. You will be able to tell the difference between good and evil. The fruit did look tasty to Eve, and she remembered what God had said, but she ate the fruit anyway. She disobeyed. Then Eve gave some of the fruit to Adam, And he looked at it and he took a bite of it too. So they both ate fruit from this tree. As the sun was going down, Adam and Eve heard God walking through the garden. He was looking for them. He was calling them by name. Adam, Eve, where are you guys? And so Adam and Eve, they went and hid among the trees. They were afraid. They were very afraid. And then God says to them, what have you done? He said, did you eat the fruit from the forbidden tree? And Adam said, yes. Yes, but Eve gave it to me, he said. And Eve said, yes, but there was a snake and it tricked me. And so then God told the snake, because of what you did, you will always crawl on your belly. And still, anytime you see a snake today, what are they doing? They're slithering on their bellies, aren't they? Then he told Adam and Eve, because you disobeyed me, you can no longer live in the garden. And so Adam and Eve left the garden. God placed angels and a flaming sword to guard the entrance. Adam and Eve would not be allowed into the garden again. Wow, what a story of Adam and Eve. You know, they had it all. They were able to enjoy this beautiful garden that God prepared and made just for them. But they were told not to take any fruit from the tree of good and evil, from the knowledge of good and evil. And so instead, they still took a bite of an apple or some piece of fruit on this tree, and they disobeyed God. And how many do you kids know that anytime you disobey, whether it be your parents or your teachers, usually it comes with a consequence, doesn't it? And so what the consequence was here was what? Adam and Eve had to leave the garden and not to return from it. And so even when it's hard to obey, even when it's easy or enticing to disobey and do the wrong thing, it's always good to do the right thing, because usually if you do the wrong thing, it comes with a consequence, doesn't it? Yeah. Hey guys, thank you so much for reading this short story about Adam and Eve in Genesis 2 with me. I love this story, and I encourage you guys to read it again and continue reading after that, because there's some really cool stuff that happens next. Thanks so much for reading with me today. I hope you guys have a great rest of your Sunday.
This is Adam.
Hey.
And this is Eve.
Hi.
Who were the first people on earth. They lived in the Garden of Eden, which was a beautiful place that had everything they needed. Adam and Eve took care of the animals and could eat from any of the trees in the garden, except for one. This was the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and God told them not to eat from this tree. There were lots of animals in the garden, but the serpent was the most clever of all the wild animals God had made. One day, he asked the woman,
Hey, Eve.
did God really say you must not eat the fruit from any of these trees in the garden?
No.
Eve said that they were able to eat from all of the fruit trees except the fruit from the tree in the middle of the garden. For God said, you must not eat or even touch it. If you do, you will die.
No, that can't be.
You won't die, said the serpent. God knows that as soon as you eat it, you will be like God, knowing both good and evil.
Oh.
The woman was convinced. She saw that the tree was beautiful and its fruit looked delicious, and she wanted the wisdom it would give her. So she took some of the fruit and ate it. Then she gave some to Adam, and he ate it too. At that moment, their eyes were opened.
Oh, no.
And they suddenly realized they weren't wearing clothes and were embarrassed. So they sewed fig leaves together to cover themselves. When the cool evening breezes were blowing, Adam and Eve heard God walking about in the garden.
Hi.
So they hid from God among the trees. Then God called to Adam, where are you? Adam said, I heard you walking in the garden, so I hid. I was afraid because I was naked. Who told you that you were naked? God asked. Did you eat from the tree I told you not to eat from? Adam said, It was the woman you gave me who gave me the fruit, and I ate it. Then God asked Eve, What have you done? The serpent tricked me, she replied. That's why I ate it. Then God punished the serpent by making it so he would crawl on his belly from then on. He told Eve that she would have great pain in her life. Then God said to Adam that because he listened to Eve and did not obey what God had told him to do, his life would be very difficult. He would have to work hard to get food to eat, God said, for you were made from dust, and to dust you will return. Then God made them clothing from the animals, but God knew that Adam and Eve could no longer live in the garden because of their sin, so he sent them away and closed up the garden.
Hi, kids! Hey, everybody! Welcome back to Living Kids Online. What's up? We are so excited to teach you guys another memory verse today. Yeah, that's right. Today's verse is from Colossians 3:20. Chickens? Oh no, I am afraid of chickens. No, silly, not chickens. Colossians. It's a book in the Bible, just like all the ones from the previous weeks. Oh, Colossians. Got it. Yeah. So today's verse says, Children, obey your parents in everything, for this pleases the Lord. But wait, what if I want to play Xbox all night long? I don't want to obey. Well, you see, the problem with that is when you don't obey your parents, sometimes you get in trouble. Like with Adam and Eve, when they disobeyed what God had told them to do, they got in trouble and they didn't get to come back to their very, very beautiful garden that God made for them. And it was really, really sad. Oh no, I don't want to be really sad. I know. So that's why you should obey your parents. Oh, okay. I think I got it. Well, good. Let's say it together, okay? Okay. Children, obey your parents in everything, for this pleases the Lord. Colossians 3:20. Awesome job. Thank you. Well, kids, hope you got it. See you guys next week. Bye. Bye.